Whoa, now, what's up with the YouTube? This is TK with Cuts by Kelly. In this video, I'm going to do a 90-degree layered cut. It's a 90-degree haircut or a layered cut on this mannequin. This is something that we have to do as a barber for our barber exam. And I think it's good to just know the fundamentals of this haircut because you will get somebody come to your shop or to your chair and ask for the service. Maybe it's sporadically, maybe it's often. So it's good to know how to do this so you don't turn any money away. But I do understand if you just want to work with your clippers. But right now she has some split ends, and what we're going to do is cut off like about 2 to 3 inches off of this haircut, and then we'll see how it is at the end. So I'm going to break this down to you. There's multiple ways to do this, but we're going to do it one way that I did in school, and hopefully this is going to be helpful to you. The first thing I'm going to do is wet the hair. Okay, now that we got the hair saturated, we're going to set the parts. Rule of thumb, if you start wet, you got to finish wet. If you're going to start dry, finish dry, because once the wet hair dries, it shrinks or it goes back to its natural state. So we're going to part this hair, and then I'm going to wet each section every time I cut it, just so I can make sure it's wet. All right, so here I go parting it down the middle to set my mohawk. Doesn't have to be perfect, but we're just trying to get a mohawk. Now I'm gonna part it right here. Okay, start from like the crown all the way to the back of the ear. And that's going to be my 2 sections on the side. And then I'm just going to clip that up. Okay. See how that looks? All right, we're gonna repeat the same thing on the other side. All right, we're about to start cutting. So on this part, I'm gonna just tell y'all a few rules that was for us in Louisiana. I took my board exam in Louisiana. It might be different if you go to another state. Some of the requirements for us was to have 1,500 hours at the minimum. And then when we went to the board, we had to take the written test. We had to do practical, which is putting the rods in the head for the perm, and then also doing the 90-degree, and then we also had to cut 2 models. All right, so for this part, the requirements was once you start cutting, you cannot put your shears down or your comb down. Okay, so you can't pull the hair up, cut, and then put the shears down, then use the comb, and then pick up the shears. You couldn't do that. Or you couldn't part and then put the comb down and then pick up shears. Once you start cutting, you need to keep both in your hands. So keep that in mind. Another rule, well, let me say this. When you're just parting at the beginning and setting your sections, you don't need your shears. You can do that all with comb. But once you start the process of cutting, you got to keep it in your hand. Another thing is, if your comb fell, you couldn't pick it up. You had to have another comb available on the table. Same thing, if your shears fell, you couldn't pick those up, you needed another pair available. And that's to say sanitary, okay? And you know, with COVID going on, it's even more heightened. So keep that in mind. But we were instructed to bring multiple combs, like 3 or 4. Same thing with the shears, bring at least 2 pairs, because I know that could be expensive. So I would say, you know, just do that. You might know what you're doing, but under the test and all that environment, other people in the room, you might be nervous. I know I was, and it's possible that you could drop any one of those things. So it's best that you have something available. That way you don't fail a test off of that technicality. The last thing before I start cutting, the rule of thumb for this haircut, it's a 90-degree haircut. So it just means every time you pull a hair off, you're coming 90 degrees off the head. So if you look at that comb, every time I pull up, I'm going 90 degrees. Once I get here, I'm pulling the hair up this way. When I get here, I'm pulling the hair out that way, okay? That's all that means. On the sides, when I'm here, I'm just gonna follow this comb. When I'm here, I'm pulling, and this is the way I'm pulling. Just to make it as plain and simple as possible, okay? If you put the comb on the head and rest it, it's telling you which direction you should be pulling the hair in. So that's the concept of 90-degree haircut. Here we go. Like I said, if you start wet, you want to finish wet. So we're going to continue to wet the hair throughout this process just to make sure we don't get any shrinkage. So first thing, I'm going to pull out the section from this mohawk and I'm just going to pull it up. Let's see, is that good for you? Let's pull it right here. I'm just going to get this section right here and I'm just going to pull this section up. And this is what I'm going to cut. I'm going to bring it up. So I got 9 degrees off the head, right? That's what my comb is telling me. So I'm going to pull it up and then I'm just going to cut that off, okay? Another rule of thumb, when you're cutting, you do not want to go past this second knuckle. I always say you're going to see me do it, but you're not supposed to do that because you can cut this. I cut it a few times and man, they got a lot of little blood right here in this knuckle for some reason. But anyway, that's what we did. We cut right across the top right there. And that's what our even haircut is. So what we do now, we just drop half of that off. We keep half and then we pick up another section, okay? That's pretty much what this is. Now we pull it up and we see what we got right there. And then we're gonna cut that off, okay? Same thing. Making sure we continue to keep our hair 9 degrees from the head. Another thing is, make sure you're pulling the hair up, okay? You don't wanna like rest it like this, pull it up to make sure you got it all straightened out, and then that's your cut, okay? So we're just gonna repeat that all the way through this haircut, this mohawk, I mean. All right, another point I want to bring out is when you're setting your part at the beginning. You want to make that part for the mohawk 1 inch wide. Now, it don't have to be precise, but you don't want it way bigger than 1 inch or way smaller than 1 inch. You want it around that 1 inch mark because if it's too thin, when you get to the sides to cut the sides and you're looking for your guide is going to be too thin. So you want it to be thick enough. And if you make it too wide, if you make it like 2 inches wide, then you can overextend. You can start pulling up too much hair when you're trying to set your when you're cutting your hair. So just make sure you have it 1 inch wide and that'll be good for your mohawk. So right after we trim it, we just want to go back and double check, see what we got. So it's pretty good. Oh, that's pretty good. Now if there's any like stragglers or left back, you can go ahead and like trim some of those, but just so you get it as precise as you can. But if it's not really a drastic of a difference, you don't really have to worry about it. Just go around like that and just look at the hair that you trim, just to make sure we have this looking proper. So yeah, it looks pretty good. Starting from here, then we're working our way around and everything is looking right. Cool. So now that we got our mohawk, we're gonna use this as our guide for the whole head. This is the height that we want. Now we're gonna transfer this to the side, okay? You can just take this part off completely, or this is what I did. I sectioned this off, and then I would clamp this. I just dropped my clamp so I ain't gonna pick it up. So that's my part sectioned off. And I'm just gonna saturate that. And now I'm gonna just take a little piece of this off right here. See that? Then I'm gonna use that with this here, with the beginning. So now once I pull this up, I'm gonna see my guide right there. And I'm pulling up on the right angle. Let's see if I'm pulling the right way. Yeah. When I come from here, I'm coming here. That's the way I'm pulling. So that's what I'm gonna cut. Come here, and I'm just gonna cut that off. Now, when you're doing this, make sure you don't pull too much hair because you can overextend. There is a thing that's overextending. If I pull this hair right here at the bottom, to cut with this hair here at the top, this hair at the bottom is gonna be super long. And I don't wanna do that. So I wanna leave that hair where it's at the bottom, and I only wanna take what I need here. Really, the less the better. You can really control what you have in your hand. So you see how I'm throwing the rest on that side just to get out of my way. I'm gonna pull this out just like so. And then I got my guide right there. And I'm gonna cut along that. Okay. See some dry hair. Okay, now I'm gonna pull this straight out. Y'all see that? Pulling it straight out. And I'm gonna find my guide just right there, and that's what I'm cutting off. Okay? Now I'm gonna repeat that. I'm gonna repeat that throughout this whole section here. I got one section here and one section here, right? So all I'm gonna do is just break this little section right here down into 3. I did 1, that's gonna be my 2nd, that's gonna be my 3rd, then I'm gonna be finished with this. So here I go, going to my 2nd section right here, and I'm going to take what I need out. Now I need to get some of this mohawk, right, to go with it. I don't want to pull too much hair and overextend this hair, because this hair should be getting pulled this way. So we're just going to take enough, that way we don't overextend. That's our guide right there. Then we're going to come here, we're going to cut. I'm going to take this. It's going to help me with my next section, so on and so forth. It's been wow, I don't know, a few years since I did this this on a mannequin, but it's good to come back and do it. Now I could double check my work. I like how that looks. I got both of those sections together and everything looks fairly even. I'm happy with myself. All right, so now we're gonna go here to this last section that we had, and then we're gonna raise that up with this one, and same thing. Cut our hair there. Like I said, there's multiple techniques. This is just one of them. Something else that will help you on this is just to get through this process. Do the whole head at least once, and then you'll be confident the second time you go around. The main thing is just trying to get through it for the first time, and then you'll get better each time you do it. Now we're going to repeat that back here. 3 sections. 1, got 1 section here, 2, then 3. Our mohawk is still here, so we're going to take our guy from up here and bring it down. Or you could take your guy from this side right here and bring it over. Or you have some guy right here because your mohawk is right here in the back as well. So you can take it from there and bring it this way. However way you want to do it, you can choose that for yourself. But we're gonna just saturate this section, right? Hit that mohawk some to keep it wet. And then we're gonna set our parts. And then we can get ready to cut our hair. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start from here. This is what I need to cut, right? I'm going to get some here from my mohawk. Make sure I don't have too much hair. Pull it on the angle that I need to pull it on. See if you can see what I see. Pull it from the angle that I need to pull it. And then I'm going to cut with my shears. I got a little bit right there. So let's get us some more. I'm going to cut. And I'm just going to continue that pat down. I can see the sections that I'm in, right? But that's why my advice is to use see, we finished this section. So to get some of the hair out my way, especially as a beginner, I will clamp this back up. That way I don't get mixed up with that anymore. I just focus on here. So now I cut this area here. Now I'm gonna cut that, and then the next one I got with the mohawk. I can go and I can check it to see all the little strands that I see. I can cut those off if I would like, or me personally, I'll wait till the end or at the end of each section to cut that off. So here I go, I'm gonna cut these. Okay, while I do this, if you're learning anything from this, if this is helpful, consider subscribing, hit the like button, and leave a comment if you have any questions about what I'm doing. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Alright, now that we got this side finished, we're going to do the same thing on this side, and then we're going to go around the whole thing and check it. Okay, so I'm going to start from the mohawk again, right? I can pull this down, and I'm going to have my 3 sections, 1, 2, 3 in this part. So I'm just going to pull that. And this is what I meant by you continue to clamp the hair. The reason why I think this part is important, because as a beginner and you're doing this at your board, all this hair that falls down, it just makes it harder to see where you're at. And you're trying to find your guide. So to make it easier for yourself, instead of not having the clamps in the head, I say keep them in. Just set your part, clamp it up, set another part, clamp, set another part, clamp. Just continue to put the hair, get the hair out your way while you're trying to do this mohawk. I mean, this 90-degree haircut. Just make it easier for yourself. That's what I think. Make it easier for yourself. That way you pass the test. And not only that, that way you could do it right, even if you're doing it with your client for the first time. So You see that? That's my mohawk from the beginning. And here is the hair that I need to cut. I only have a little. Sometimes you will be tempted to pull this much. You'll be tempted to do that, to try to get it over with. Please don't do that. Just catch it a little bit, pull that up, and then cut the little that you see, okay? Another tip. We can use the fat side of the comb or the wide tooth side. It's going to spread the hair out more, right? Or if you want to bunch the hair up, just use the smaller side to keep the hair closer together. That way it stays within the tip of your finger and that second knuckle, right? Then we clip. So now we have the mohawk. That's already done. And then we have the new section that we're going to use as our traveling guide. There we go. Okay. Let me put that to the side. Now, if you are right-handed like me, on this part, I come around like this. And I do it from this way. Pull the hair out, and then I cut. So what you see right here is the part that I cut. Already, that's finished. This is the part that I need to cut. This is the rest of that section. And here's the mohawk that is already complete. So if I wanted to start from here, I could set a part right there and just do the opposite. Use the mohawk and cut with the guide. Right here, I'm going to start with this. And I'm going to take some out of here, out of the crown from the mohawk, the original guide here. And I'm going to follow that down. I can also use this as a guide. So I got a whole bunch of guides here, but we're going to start from here and then work our way down. And after we do that, we're going to repeat that. Okay, for the sake of time, I'm not going to show all the rest of this video. You're pretty much doing the same thing I showed you on the other side, on this side. And the things that you won't see me do is just blow dry the hair. Now for the board, you don't have to blow dry it. After you finish your finish the head, you can show them wet. So, but on this, I'm gonna blow dry it just so you can see the finished look of it, and so you can understand what they're trying to get. But the only thing that you're not going to see is after I finish cutting these sections right here, I just go around the whole head just to double check and make sure everything is straight, and then I blow dried it for you. Alright guys, we finished it. I'm going to shake it a little bit so you can see the layer aspect of it. But if you look real close, you can see there's shorter hair here, then some more shorter hair. But the hair is getting longer as it goes around. Got short, then it gets longer. And that's like your layer aspect of it. It's cut in layers. It's really even, but you got long hair to short, but it's all one length. So you can see like the one length going on here. See that? All that's one length. So I hope this was helpful. If it was helpful, give it a thumbs up, give it a like. Also subscribe. I'm not the best at this because I'm a barber, and we deal with clippers most of the time, but it's still good to know how to do this, because if you get a client, you can cut them, right? You can do it as well. Now in barbering, we don't learn like 45-degree haircuts and stuff like that, bobs. If you want to learn that more, I encourage you to do some extra courses, continuing education, so you can get those under your belt. I don't know them. I pretty much know this one, and like I said, I'm not the best at it, but I think I'm good enough to do it at the shop. So If you like it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you like this content. Also, leave a comment below if you have any questions or concerns. But this is TK with Cuts by Kelly, and I appreciate you.